Lesson 72 is about multiplying three fractions. And when we multiply three fractions, it's the same process as when we do it with two. We just work through one more problem. So, if we want to multiply 2/3 times 1 3/5 times 3/4, we know our first step in any of these problems is to turn our mixed numbers to improper fractions. So we're going to get 2/3 times, and 1 3/5, that's the same as 8/5 times 3/4. Now when we've got this set up, what we want to do is we want to look at these three fractions, the numerators and denominators, and see where we can simplify before we multiply. So when I look at this, I see a 3 on top, a 3 on the bottom, 3 over 3. That's the same as 1 over 1. We can look and we can see there's a 2 and a 4, but there's also a 4 and an 8. It doesn't matter which pair we choose to simplify before we multiply. Let's go ahead and simplify the 2/4, and we're going to turn that into 1/2, because 2/4 is the same as 1/2. It doesn't matter which one we simplify first, because in this case, we've got another simplification we can make. 2 goes into 8 4 times, so 8 over 2 is going to be the same thing as 4 over 1. When we go through this process of simplifying before we multiply, it makes it easy to find out what our final answer is, even when we're multiplying three fractions. We're going to get 1 times 4 times 1, that's 4, and 1 times 5 times 1, that's 5. So we've got our answer, 4/5. When we multiply three fractions, we've got to make sure we're working with proper fractions or improper fractions. Then we simplify before we multiply to find out what our final answer will be. Let's look at another example. Let's multiply, and in this one there are no mixed numbers, so we can multiply straight across and straight the top and straight across the bottom. But let's simplify before we multiply first. Immediately there's a 5/5, so that's going to be the same as 1 over 1. And then you can also see there's a 3/6. 3 is half of 6, so 3/6 is the same thing as 1/2. And now we go ahead and multiply. Just as a note, remember, the only way you can simplify before you multiply is with pairs 1 from the top, 1 from the bottom. If you look at the 2 and the 2, they're both on the bottom. They're both in the denominator, so we can't simplify them. We have to go ahead and multiply. So 1 times 1 times 1, that's 1. 2 times 2 times 1, that's 4. So we've got our final answer. Our final answer for this problem must be 1/4. Same process as we've done with two fractions before. We just simplify before we multiply. Then we go ahead and multiply to find our answer, which will already be in its lowest terms. We'll practice multiplying three fractions some more with our lesson practice on page 389. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.